January has been wild, and it really felt like we were experiencing so much discipline from Capricorn, from Mars retrograde in Cancer, and from Aquarius season aspecting this Pluto time. It was definitely a season of deep retrospection and really looking in the mirror and asking ourselves serious questions about where we stand in terms of society, where we are not nourishing and taking care of our emotional well being in our emotional body, and the work that we need to do to step into our power and potential. February is definitely going to be a time where we can thaw all of the ice out and we can really tap into our heart space with all of this Piscean energy. Greetings, YouTube family. Welcome back to my channel, Hidden Alchemy by Sade. I am so excited to have you here for our February astrology update. And as usual, if you would like to learn more about how to incorporate astrology into your day-to-day, or even if you want to figure out how you can make the most out of the transits and the major transits that are going to be impacting you this year, feel free to head over to my website, hiddenalchemybysade.com, where you can get all of the information that you need to schedule your consultation. But in any case, let's go ahead and dive into the astrology for the month of February. I am so happy that we have gotten out of January, hence the reason why I have the matrix coding background for today's video, because January really felt like a matrix time where we had to really think about our place in society on a collective level and on a personal level, and the deep wounded areas of our life because of Mars retrograde in Cancer that we really needed to take care of on an emotional level, on a child wound level, right? Dealing with any issues pertaining to nurturing oneself through the maternal parent, through the paternal parent, and doing this so that we can step into our personal power and prepare ourselves for the Mars direct stationing in the sign of Cancer towards the end of the month. So February is really going to be a lot more of softness. Doesn't mean that there's not work that needs to be done, but we're gonna have to take a slower approach, a more intuitive approach, and a gentler approach to how we are getting things done, as opposed to January when we had Capricorn and harsh Aquarius energy. So let's go ahead and kick off for the 1st through the 3rd of the month. We have Venus, Neptune, and the North Node coming into a conjunction in the sign of Pisces. And this is very, very dreamy. This is very taking care of yourself, connecting in community with people based off of the Neptunian beliefs that you have. So this is a very like spiritual type of energy when you have Neptune, the North Node, and Pisces coming together with Venus. So it's really attracting your spiritual tribe and spending time doing things that heal your spiritual body. And that could be anything pertaining to the arts. Venus is very art driven. Venus is art driven. And Pisces energy in the sign of Venus, or the planet Venus in the sign of Pisces, that is a craving of artistic expression or just being around things that make you feel good inside. And it doesn't need to be planned. It doesn't need to have a schedule, but it can be something that is more spontaneous. That's what your soul needs. And because this is conjuncting the North Node, pay attention to what you are craving from the 1st to the 3rd, because that will be an indicator of where you want to put your energy for these next 18 months, especially as we get into March, when we have our first eclipse in the sign of Virgo opposing Pisces. So this could be a time of healing through love, through compassion, and through unity. On the 4th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Aries. Now, this is going to be a very important transit because we are entering into the pre-retrograde shadow of Venus in Aries. And Venus is naturally the ruler of Libra, which is the opposite sign of Aries. Aries is more Mars energy. And when you have Venus in the sign of Aries, we really are focusing on the self, the power of self love. And not only the power of self love, but the boldness in the way that we go about taking care of ourselves in a sense that makes us feel confident. Venus in Aries is all about what can I do to make myself feel confident so that I can show up as that leader, show up as that warrior. Now, because Venus is a planet that likes to attract, Aries is naturally a sign that likes to go after. So you really want to find some balance between where are you overexerting that energy of want when all you really need to do is put the feelers out there and be patient enough to sit back and allow yourself to receive. Pay very close attention to what comes to the surface during this Venus in Aries time, because Venus will be going retrograde in March. And that will be a very great time for us to go back over the Aries area of our chart and to really get to the root of what makes us feel loved, what makes us feel important and worthy, and where do we need to kind of dim the fire just a little bit so that we can truly receive what we are worthy of. Now, on that same day, February 4th, we have Jupiter stationing direct in the sign of Gemini. We have been dealing with Jupiter in Gemini for quite some time. And with Jupiter being retrograde in Gemini, it really has placed a pause on social connection, or an overdrive of social connection, because that is Gemini. Geminis are the chatty catties of the zodiacs. And it has also placed a pause on too many ideas, idea overload, and wanting to be a jack of all trade of many things and a master of none. Jupiter wants us to really focus on what is the bigger picture? What is the wisdom that we are supposed to take from this situation, and not just the breadcrumbs of information? And can we focus our energy on a few things rather than scattering our energy on many things? Jupiter really wants to build a level of mastery and a level of deep understanding of a topic, of an experience. Whereas Gemini is the first air sign. So Gemini wants to zip, zap, and zoom wherever it can grab attention and grab information and connect with people. Hopefully, this Jupiter retrograde gave you an opportunity to realize the people that you actually need to connect with to get you further on the purpose-driven journey that is for your life. Now that Jupiter is stationing direct, now you can go ahead and interact in these more social connections and conversations and start putting yourself back out there. And most importantly, finishing what you have not finished from the start of Jupiter in Gemini transit, because we will have Jupiter moving into the sign of Cancer towards the earlier half of summer. So you really want to get things finished for these next few months instead of trying to start things that are brand new, because this is not brand new energy that we are dealing with Jupiter going direct in Gemini. This is energy that we have already discussed and went over and has already been brought to our table. So now it's time to finish it up, get the bow on the present, on the gift, and send it out so that when Jupiter moves into Cancer, we can wholly and we can have more foundation in our ability to step into Jupiter in Cancer and not have things that are left undone. So we can fully step into the new season of Jupiter moving into Cancer. Now, on February 12th, we have the full moon in the sign of Leo, a time to get creative, a time to shine, and a time to really question where you are a unique creative leader in your life and where you can add that energy to a group dynamic. This full moon in Leo is going to be opposing the sun in Aquarius as well as Mercury in the sign of Aquarius. Mercury is going to move into Pisces a few days later, but it's still going to be in Aquarius during this full moon. And this full moon is specifically going to square Uranus, which is just stationed direct in the sign of Taurus. So there is an aspect of the Taurus area of your chart that has been buzzing for a renovation, buzzing for a change. Leo coming to the mix, bringing that fire, is going to square this Taurus energy. And it's like, it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to step out. It's time for you to be the star. And it's time for you to take leadership roles pertaining to your life or pertaining to projects that you're working on. Now, the reason why I think this is going to be a project is because it's opposing the Sun and Mercury in the sign of Aquarius, which deals a lot with community dynamics, collective dynamics, and coming together with groups of people. Now, what I will say, because we're dealing with square energy, and I'm going to dive deeper into this on my full moon in Leo video, but because we're dealing with square energy, you want to find an element that can ease the tension between fire and earth. And when it comes to Taurus and Leo, those are two very stubborn signs. So you're going to need some water. You're going to need some softness, but you are going to need to step up to the plate and to step into a new way of being and expressing yourself as an innovative leader. And also, because it's going to be squaring Taurus, it's going to include a shift in terms of the way that you make money, a shift in terms of your comfort zone, and a shift in terms of your value system. Where are your values and your beliefs changing? And where are you maybe adopting more Leo-esque type of regal energy? Now it's okay to step into that light. Now, a few days later, we're going to have Mercury entering the sign of Pisces, and that's going to be on Valentine's Day. And this is actually a very, very great time for Mercury to move into Pisces, because Pisces loves dealing with matters of the heart. So when we have Mercury in the sign of Pisces, there is definitely going to be more intuitive expression. There's going to be a lot more softness in our words. Mercury in Aquarius is very right brain, very straight to the facts, the numbers, what's needed, black and white, very detached, futuristic, AI, all of that. But Mercury being in the sign of Pisces is moving into a more feminine nature, definitely calling us into artistic ways of expressing ourselves, listening to more music, writing poetry, and maybe even connecting with a group of people who also share our artistic ideas and our artistic passions and pursuits. This can also be a really good time to develop a meditation practice if you don't already have one, so that you can focus more on your intuitive mind instead of only focusing on the conscious mind. And this all happening during Valentine's Day weekend. This is just a yummy, yummy time to connect, to have a good time, and to express your love in a soft, gentle, and harmonious way. Now, a few days later, on February 18th, we will have the Sun meeting Mercury in the sign of Pisces. And this is definitely going to shed deep light on a need for compassion and forgiveness. I remember mentioning this in my North Node in Pisces video, but I definitely feel like this North Node in Pisces is really going to be a time of forgiveness. We're going to have to realize where we have been a little overly critical. Virgo, where have we been a little overly critical on our judgments of others, on our judgments of ourselves? Okay. And the Sun in Pisces is going to highlight all of this even further. Where do we need to work less? Not saying that we don't need to work, but where do we need to work a little bit less and give ourselves a little bit more time to find the beauty in the subtle things of life? Find the beauty in waking up slowly, doing a little bit of movement in your morning, maybe listening to a little bit of music that makes you feel good, having your cup of tea and cup of coffee as you journal to really write what's going on inside, or maybe doing a meditation and then starting your workday. Right? So the Sun and Mercury coming together in the sign of Pisces, and at some point they will all meet with the North Node, is really asking us, where are we being too hard on ourselves and focusing solely on the facts and the details? And where can we start to lean more into our intuitive knowing of how we need to move through our day to day to still get the same result. And anything dealing with Pisces is also asking you to lean on your community, lean on the people around you. Find those people that share similar artistic expressions, similar mystical, spiritual beliefs. And also, this is a great time if you don't have a spiritual practice to really tap into where do you stand in terms of spirituality? Because again, Mercury and the Sun will meet the North Node in Pisces, which is pushing us as a collective to question our faith. Where has your faith been these past few weeks? Okay, it's definitely been a season. So, where has your faith been? And where does it need to be strengthened? And that is not something that you can strengthen just by doing mundane work. That is something that's going to require a little bit more meditation, a little bit more studying of astrology, a little bit more movement like yoga, a little bit more sound, and community, most importantly. Next up, we have Mars stationing direct in the sign of Cancer. Now, I could not have been happier for this transit. That's going to take shape on February 24th. We have been dealing with this retrograde energy for a very long time, and we're still not out the clear. But that's fine because at least Mars is ready to move forward. And we've really been dealing with this Mars retrograde since November because November, Mars was still barely in Cancer. And we were dealing with a pre-shadowing of what Mars retrograde was going to bring us. Now, we were really dealing with a lot more of the Cancer energy in October, but November is when we really started to feel like, okay, we know that Mars is getting ready to slow down. It officially slowed down in December. So now that Mars is getting ready to station direct, it is time for you to move in terms of the Cancerian aspect of your chart, remembering that your home is your sanctuary. Your home is your safe place. And your home is not just a physical dwelling, it is your body. Your body houses your organs, your body houses your blood. It is your mind, right? And when you treat these aspects of home as a sanctuary, what does that mean? How are you treating your sanctuary? Is your sanctuary clean? Are there things that you need to clean? Are there things that you need to nourish a little bit better? Now that Mars is stationing direct in Cancer, we have the green light to move forward. So if things have been feeling stuck, if they have been feeling yucky, if they have been feeling stagnant, it's all for purpose and it's all for reason to get your attention. And that's the thing. When Mars was retrograde in Cancer, it really was a time to stop, right? And if you notice what was going on within yourself or what might have been going on with people around you, right? I know that I've noticed a lot of people either had injuries, a lot of people were dealing with stomach issues, a lot of people were dealing with, rekindling or reconnecting with parents, dealing with parental issues, right? So it was a time of acknowledging our emotional body. And that's the thing. When our emotional body is not stable, we cannot show up as the true leaders in our life that have to deal with duty and responsibility. That's Capricorn, the opposite sign of Cancer. So, this Mars retrograde brought a lot of emotional chaos to our life on a personal level and on a collective level. And now that it's direct, it's time for us to act on what we've learned because once Mars moves into Leo, we will have to be those leaders, and that's going to be in the spring. So spring is definitely going to be a very action oriented time. Definitely April, especially May. So if you're listening to this at the beginning of February, don't let the Mars retrograde go to waste. Take care of the behind the scenes aspects that need to be taken care of so that you can really make the most out of this transit. Now, the next day, we will have, or actually a few days later, we will then be closing out the month with a new moon in Pisces. So there's so much water from the middle of the month, or barely the middle of the month because February is very short, but there's so much water from that second week of February all the way throughout the rest of February, closing us off with a new moon in Pisces, which is telling us dream it, feel it, and now create it. It is your time to create your dreams. Mars is direct. The North Node is in Pisces. The new moon in Pisces is asking you, what new seeds of intention are you planting around spiritual connection, alignment to your group, healing, creative projects, and practices that really help to nurture and nourish your inner world. And the nurturing and the nourishment couldn't be more profound, especially with Mars in Cancer going direct just a few days before the new moon. It's giving you the green light to go ahead and continue those connections, continuing developing your faith, your belief system, your dreams, and going after it. Jupiter is now direct, Mars is now direct. Okay, so we have a window of all the planets really being direct before we move back into retrograde season, because March we will have Mercury getting ready to station retrograde in the sign of Aries, and then we will have Venus stationing retrograde in the sign of Aries. So really use the last week of February to dream big. And if you are a person who already has a spiritual practice, this can be a time where your dreams might be very elusive. You might really have downloads and visions and deeper understandings. And most importantly, because the North Node is in Pisces, breakthrough moments, aha moments of, this is the path that I need to take. This is the direction that I need to be on. These are the people that I need to be around, right? And that can feel so grounding and so nourishing, especially when you're dealing with water energy like Pisces, which is very mutable. So like I said, the month of February is really giving a thawing out of all of the ice, the cold, the hard truths, and the hard facts that we've had to deal with in the month of January. February is looking like, okay, spring is on its way. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I can soften, I can feel, and I can have faith that things are working out for my greatest good. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I would love, love, love to hear how this energy has been playing out for you. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions or concerns, or want to just see where this is taking shape for you on your chart. I am loving the comments and I am loving the emails that I am getting from everyone. And I will see and speak to you all soon for our next video.